You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us. Hello, and welcome to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. I am Shannon Dias with Imaginative Media, and I am joined by Shannon Brown from Open Door Healing and Shaman Mystical Crow from Sacred Temple Wellness. And our topic today is, that's not my shit. So we're starting right out of the gate with what do you do and how do you handle it, and what things can you focus on, what should you focus on, that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of things in this life that come at us in different ways. And so how do you determine what's yours, what you want to keep, and what you want to hold on to? And I think I'm going to throw it to Christina first, because I love that little quote that you shared. And I thought that's a great way to kind of kick it off.
I can definitely do that. I can start it off then. So I actually shared this yesterday, and it was funny how much it applied to today. And I was this type of wisdom, like things of understanding of shit that's just not yours, usually comes like with age. As you get older, you just don't want to deal with all of the other stuff. It doesn't matter anymore. Well, how do we get people to become more aware of that sooner rather than later? And I saw this quote and I had to share it. And again, it applies to now. So it says, the secret to happiness is to be as weird as you like, and the wrong people will leave the party, but the right ones will join the dance.
And so much.
I know, I love it so much too. And I mean, I absolutely love that. I am always my weirdest self. I wasn't always like that. It's taken many years to get to this point. And there's a lot of things that, like in my life earlier that I've transformed from, where it was like, why wasn't I my freest self there? Look at the opportunities I missed out, the people that I never got to meet, like all this kind of stuff. Why did I let other people have restrictions over me? Like, why did I do that? And just really being confident and really owning and being my weirdest self, I have noticed that quote to actually be true in my life, that the right people that are supposed to be around, like you guys, come into my life. Like it's freeing. It really feels like freedom. And freedom has definitely been my word of the year for this year, and something that took a long time for me to get to, because it started with, wanting to feel more in control, and why am I out of control, and why all these things, one thing after the other. And it was just more so that I just needed to be me more than anything else, and just rid what was no longer serving in my highest good. Things that have served their purpose doesn't mean that all of them were negative. Stagnation is really bad energetic wise. So if it's no longer serving, it has served its purpose, it's time for you to take the lesson you learned from that and move on to the next thing. So learning to recognize these things as they're happening is the thing we're all trying to figure out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it gets confused when other people's shit gets thrown into the mix.
Exactly. It's like, how you can hear your own voice when it's like going, like, I can't.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to find those moments to like get quiet and, find the different practices that you do. And, Shannon does tapping on the Bring Joy Forward page group, I should say, every, when do you do that? Tuesdays, right? Yeah. Tuesday tapping. And that, specifically is such a great practice to like get into that space. But like, we're human too. It's not like we immediately go, oh, let's start tapping immediately. Like we sometimes do, right? But sometimes we have to talk ourselves down before we do that, I think, right?
Yes.
You definitely have to, like, when you're in the moment, like I have done that, like with tapping, where it's been like, all right, I need to do it. Like I need to relieve some stress, or I need to open up my thought process, but I'm just so like erratic where I'm just like, it's too much.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying.
I do the hair. You do the hair,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, it's
I
like
like it's like yes, exactly. It's like the hair scrunch to like just kind of stimulate all of the things we were talking about hair earlier too, but like that stagnant energy, right? Like it's really easy to get caught up in all of the things that are happening in your life and life around you and the things that you want to do. If you're somebody that is, goal oriented, you might have a bunch of to do lists in front of you. If you're somebody that like really, um, you know, likes to have all of the people around and it has trouble, saying no, and you feel like you're letting people down and all those kind of things, it can be really hard also to recognize that that's not yours. Like whatever this thing is that they're doing or they're wanting or whatever is not yours. And I think even for me, like I am a person who really loves collaboration. Obviously, we're doing this collaborative show where we're all coming from different places and we have different businesses and we're all doing different things, but we're collaborating in a space to kind of tell the story. And I think for me, like that was a real kind of awakening that this year really that I've just been kind of settling and sitting with, because my excitement and enthusiasm can bleed into other areas where sometimes people will come with me because they want to do it for me, rather than it being something that they want to do for themselves. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Like it's not all, we're not always the ones that have to like tune people out. Sometimes we're the ones that are doing it, even though it might be unintentional. So it's kind of filtering through and seeing like how do you recognize when it's yours, and when it's stagnant and you have to let it go. And um, I think I just moved this year, and there's a lot of stuff that as you take it out and you look at it, you do that whole Marie Kondo to how does this make me feel when you pick it up, kind of thing, right? I think doing that with ideas and energy and everything that's all around you, like if you are constantly checking in with yourself in your body, where did I feel that and how did it feel when it was there? You may not totally uh, be aware of how powerful you are as a being, but I am here to tell you you are extremely powerful and you know the things. So just start recognizing those as they come in. Excuse me.
I love that. That's actually really awesome. Like I like that metaphor, that comparison you made where you actually, yeah, you look at the items and it's like, okay, you remember things. You got the memories. Where is that sitting in your body? How does it make you feel? Has it served its purpose? Does it need to stay? It's the memory more important than the item itself? Do you need the item to trigger that memory? Is it within you, or does it feel like it's, you know what? It's done. Maybe it needs to be donated to somebody. Maybe it needs to move on. I actually just had a little bit of a kind of a thing like that. So I have a whole bunch of crystal skulls. Anybody who knows me, I collect all these crystal skulls. I've gotten some from other people that have been given to me as gifts and stuff like that. Like it was theirs, they were working with it. And then it was time because I believe, this is again my belief system, the way I work with crystal skulls, is that they have a consciousness. So they have a spirit that works with me. And usually during my shamanic sessions for clients, one will say, hey, me, I want to come, I want to join. I have the first one, and it was actually like just a few hours ago before I went in my room and I was just grabbing a couple of my decks. And I have the first one that actually wants to go to somebody else. The first one that's ready to move from me, which is
Oh, I
just
love that.
really, really cool. And I'm like, I don't know. I just walked by my table with them all on there. And I was just kind of looking at them being like, hey, because I'm having construction in my house done right now. And it is a hot mess down there. And my room has furniture all just in the middle. So I can still access all my stuff around it, but it's literally piled floor to ceiling. Like my husband Tetris that shit all the way up. And I walked by them and I'm like, hey, like we're still working, all that kind of stuff. I'm just not in here with you guys and everything. And one of them was like, hey, you remember your friend that you were talking to her the other day? I need to go with her. So I have to do that now. And it's actually really cool. Like, yes, physically, like, I paid money for this. I actually paid a lot of money for this. But, you know, it's a Leandra Souls skull, like, you know, it's blue apatite, it's got this beautiful sheen on it and everything, but he's ready to move on. It was just a money exchange for me to bring him in to the next person too that he needs to go with. So we've worked a lot together, and it's going to be beautiful to see them with this woman. So it's going to be cool.
Oh, I love that.
So
yeah, I like that you also said like it was just a money exchange, right? Like I think that that's part of the whole it's not my shit. Like if somebody gives it to you, if it's, you know, something that you gave up something for, you gave up your money, you bought this instead of this, right? Like it applies, it comes in and makes that decision sometimes a little bit harder. But I think if you boil it down to like, how does, like, you knew, you just felt it.
yeah, I felt it immediately. And I don't mind the money went to, you know, Leandro, and it paid to have him shipped from, you know, Brazil. You know, that man literally, when he carves, he's a master carver. He goes into like the caves and all that stuff himself and gets the stone and sees the skull inside of it. You know, like this man puts in a lot of hard work. All of it's done by hand, all that stuff. You know, like he has some machines for like polishing and smoothing, but everything else is formed by hand. So it's like, you know what? I don't mind giving the hard-earned money to support that. You know, especially when he offers things like payment plans. So, you know,
right,
that makes it a little bit easier. But the person that he's going to go to, it's well worth it. So the money was well spent. It went to a good human on this earth. And me and that skull worked a lot together. And it's time for him to move on. So, you know, seeing that more in a positive light and everything, recognizing it. And that's just trusting your instinct. You know, hearing yourself, like Shannon was saying before, and not hearing the other influences. What's still your shit and what's not.
Yeah. Speaking of other influences, Shannon, you're dealing with so much right now of stuff where you're helping with things that aren't yours. But yet also it's not your shit, but also at the same time, it kind of is in a way, because like you're connected to it, you know? And so like you might come up to something that you're like, oh wait, this is connected to me for for this reason. So it wasn't, you know, it adds this extra level of how do you work with it, and how do you decide, you know, what's yours and what's not, and how do you deal with just the aspect of not holding on to that when this is part of your everyday life right now.
Yeah, so I was given some news the other day that was really upsetting about a family member, and I've had some rough years losing family members, and so I immediately went into fear. Because I'm like, I'm not freaking losing another sibling. You know, I'm not doing it. I was on my way to my mom's, you know, driving. And so I'm not in a really good space driving. I really shouldn't have gotten on the road. Now, when I get in my car, I always say, love in front of me, love behind me, love all around me. May anybody I come into contact with today make it safely to their destination and home, right? I'm just spreading the love out, right? I almost had 2 near accidents. Okay. And I'm like, okay, something, you know, and then there was this dude behind me flashing his lights, nowhere for me to move. When I finally got to where I could move over, I rolled down my window and I flipped him off. Now, I don't do that. I don't do that. I was so mad.
Good, you got it out.
I get it out.
Yeah. And so then I get off the exit. Well, he gets off on the same exit. And I'm like, holy crap. I don't, you know, I mean, I could just feel this energy, like he was kind of watching where I was going. And so I just slowed way back down, and then he just kept going because I was going to the right. Because I was like, if he goes to the right, I'm going into Walmart or something, you know, I'm just getting out of this. So I'm going down the road and I'm like, this is not me. This is not me. So then, yeah, again, I started tapping, but I was going, I'm fucking pissed. I mean, excuse my French, but I got it out. I'm like, this makes me so mad. I am so mad right now that this is going on, that this blah, 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 blah. And then after and it's okay to feel that. I was tapping. It is okay. I am human. It is okay for me to feel these feelings, right? And then after tapping it out and accepting that it was okay, I surrendered to those feelings. And then it was like, I choose to, in this situation, I choose to be in love, joy, ease, and grace. That's how I choose to do this. And in any situation, and I just threw this out there, any situation that comes to me that brings me out of my alignment, I will face it, I will accept it, I will surrender to it, and then I will choose how I will continue to have it in my life. Because the situation that came up the other day, there is absolutely nothing I can do about it except surrender to the moment and send as much love and joy to that situation. So that's how I handled that. I mean, it's been at least 30 years since I flipped someone off. Seriously, I was so.
You reached a tipping point.
Yeah. And yeah. And a lot of it had to do also with feeling sorry for myself, because I'm like, oh, great, I'll be the only one left to take care of all the family. And I was like, wait a minute, but that's how I took care of it. And that's how, and it's funny, we were talking about this before we got on, what came up in my Open Door Healing Facebook page was her entire life led to the moment when she said, this is the life I want. And she never again wasted time on anything that wasn't that. And that is going to be my focus. Is this bringing me joy? I mean, there's stuff that we have to do. We have to wash the dishes. Does it, we've all read those things. Oh, when you're washing the dishes, feel the water and breathe and look out the window. And I'm like, I just want to wash them and get on with it.
Yeah. No, that's me. The dishes and laundry. It's like, I just want to move on. No, it's not a meditative. It's not a working meditative thing for me. Like my husband's good with stuff like that. He's very much that working meditative. Nope.
Yeah. I just can't stand the feel of washing dishes. I don't know. It's a whole thing for me. I'm gloves. So grateful for my dishwasher.
I don't.
Yeah, but still, even gloves. That. Yeah.
I mean, I have beautiful scenery.
Trauma.
I have birds at the bird feeder. I have a donkey and goat that I look at, and they do make me smile. But it's like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be cooking. I don't like to cook. Yeah. I want to be outside, especially now that it's cooler, and I want to be painting, and I want to be reading. I don't want to do all that human stuff that we have to do. I know. But anyway,
Well, you have I think that's a good point. Is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
No, go ahead.
A lesson that actually is taught to Imune Key students is your consciousness is your superpower, is your gift. Mm-hmm. You can make the conscious decision to change the situation you were in, just like what Shannon just did. She made the conscious decision to be like, all right, I'm going to feel this regardless. But do I want it to stay stagnant within my body so it comes out the way it did in a way that's not normal for her? Like me coming from New York, like flipping people off is a normal way of my life.
Yeah.
But it's like
I'm a Massachusetts driver. I understand.
So it's like, but if you don't like the behaviors that you're exhibiting, you can make the flippin' choice to remove where it's sitting in your body and change the situation up. That is a shining example of and I'm pointing to her right here. I don't know how I appear on the thing, but she's here to me. It is a shining example of that, how your consciousness is a fucking gift. Like, get it. You people got to get it. I got to stop cursing. I'll stop.
I swear it's a New England thing. It's just, but that's part of the, we started this out with a whole being, like, accept you're weird, and, it's accept who you are. Stop trying to change yourself for what you think the world wants of you, what the people around you have told you need to be or can't be or whatever. And just choose your moments as you go forward. Like, you're choosing how you react, and sometimes you have to just let shit out because it's not yours. Like, that everything that Shannon was feeling in that whole entire scenario was she was holding on to energy that was coming from other places, and they were all fear-based energies as well. So it's like this piling on. And you have to release that. You can't just, look at it and say, oh, okay, I'm afraid, or okay, you can't. You have to actively release those energies. And sometimes that means just yelling. I do a lot of yelling when I'm in the car, but it's like it's a quick release, right? Like I don't hold on to it. That's the whole thing. I'm not angry at all. I may sound like I'm pissed off at the guy in front of me that is like keeps slowing down and can't decide what they want to do when I say make up your mind. But I'm getting it out. That's his energy coming at me for whatever reason, and I just need to get rid of it. And I
Yeah,
think
you're
we
not
can apply
allowing it
that.
to sit in your body. That's
Yeah.
your method. You're not allowing it to sit in your body. You're letting it be removed.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm also contained in a car where people are not hearing me every 5 seconds do that, right? Like, and I'll modify it depending on who's in the car with me sometimes because, like, it's a respect for that person or whatever, right? So you're still going to go through life doing those things. You're not going to just walk around in your 9 to 5 job flipping everybody off because they want you to go to a meeting. I mean, you can't do those things.
Like I can't be flipping people off when I got kids in the car, because then
Right.
they're going to be like, oh, this is what we do. Like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's a momentary lapse of reason, right? But like own that. Like you're human. Don't like make a big thing out of it. It doesn't make you this horrible person now because you did this thing that you don't normally do or whatever, And like if it is something that you normally do, find the people that normally do it, and they'll dance with you.
Exactly. Our own weird day.
Yes.
Good morning journaling with Marcia. Her favorite word is the F word, right? And
same.
Yeah. So and when I was at retreat recently, the commentator Marcia was coming through because I've never heard this person use that word before. But then it was just, and I'm like, holy crap, And she's like, I never talked like this before. And I'm like, well, that's because Marcia wanted to be here and she couldn't be, So she's coming through, but it's just, and maybe it's an East Coast thing because Marcia lives in Syracuse. So
yeah, it's an East Coast thing.
I guess
we're a little feisty, just a bit.
We are.
I think I'm more sassy than feisty. I think that's the word. Because I will throw this out there. When I took my daughter up to Boston, what was it, 8 years ago to college, and we were walking by some warehouses, and some guy called her, and I said, "Dude, show some respect." And Chelsea's just giggling, But I'm like, we never do that crap in Texas. Or I turn around and you just don't,
Well, that's because you could get attacked over there.
Yeah, there's an extra level of danger.
Legally attacked.
But it was Mom, and she's like, Mom, that's just how they are.
Yeah, but that's not okay. Like that may be how they are, but that doesn't make it right either. So
yeah,
Mom.
I don't
that
really
was
think he meant anything. That's just what that's what you.
Yeah, that's other people's shit. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's other
people's exactly. That was you deflecting other people's shit. Exactly. Yeah. It's like,
yep,
good.
Go Mom. Exactly.
And I've been doing that forever because when I worked at a warehouse with just drivers everywhere, and they all have filthy mouths. So this was way before I started this huge spiritual journey. But I'd be like, "I'm sorry, my name is Mrs. Brown, and you don't talk to me like that around me like that." And I was the only one in the office that they respected it because I put my foot down and said, no.
Yeah.
This is,
I spoke your truth.
I did. I spoke my truth even before I knew what that was. That always cracks me up when I think about that because they would just blah, blah, blah. And then they'd come by my desk and they would stop and then they would keep walking.
Well, if you think about it, we all come out speaking our truth. Yeah. And everybody tells us to shut up. So we spend our entire lives relearning how to speak our truth because we've been told our entire lives not to do it for various reasons, by parents, by teachers, by, organized religion, like all of the places that you go. Everybody tries to mold you into what they think you should be and how you should behave. So this message is brought to you today to speak your truth, not take on anybody else's shit. Yeah. Be your own weird self and join the dance with us. Heck yeah. Do you have anything else that you'd like to add? I would like for both of you to let people know where they can find you too. I think we probably should start doing that. We should probably get a little bit more organized in what we're doing here. We're just so chill. But yeah, so Shannon, go ahead and tell people who you are, where they can find you.
Well, yeah, I'm Shannon Brown, Open Door Healing. I mean, one place you can find me is on the Bring Joy Forward website. I have a little place there that it's under construction. And then actually the only really, I mean, yeah, if you can comment when you see this and say, hey, I want to get a hold of Shannon, and then we'll get contact. I don't really have my own website. I don't, I'm one of those that when people show up and they're like, hey, I need your magic, then here I am. I don't, because I've got all the other people's shit going on. Yeah. Parents, kids, grandparents, grandkids, animals, husband, only one. So anyway, so yes, if you feel like you could use some of my magic, it could help you, then just put a little comment or get a hold of one of us, and we'll it'll happen. The universe always makes it happen. So
yeah, Shannon's information is on the Bring Joy Forward page. So if you go into the directory, you will find how to get in touch with her in there.
Yes.
Christina.
So yes, you can find me in the Bring Joy Forward communities. You can also find me. I do have a website, and the only reason I have websites, the only reason I have any of the websites I've had is because Shannon built one for me in the past, and then I had my friend Connor build the one that I had now. Because the one that I was making for myself at one point, was for my mentor and his wife before I took on the company, was just, it's not my strong suit. I will fully admit that is not my strong suit. But anyway, so you can find me at sacredtemplewellness.com. You can find me, any of my colleagues, any of my affiliates, all that stuff. I made it really easy for you to find the people for the path that you need. So yeah, you can sacredtemplewellness.com. You can look us up on Google. I'm hooked up in all the places. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, not on TikTok, maybe eventually on YouTube. We'll see. YouTube's an angry place for comments.
You can turn those off.
You can turn those off. So, but yeah, just go on the website and you'll be directed anywhere from there. And you can get a hold of any of us. So you'll actually even see the lovely Shannon Dias on that site as well. She's in there. So
yes, I am. I love the community crossovers, are amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll find all my information also at bringjoyforward.com. If you are a TTRPG person, you like gaming and stuff like that, I also do a bunch of that kind of stuff. So you can get my information at imagineif.shop and find all that information out there. But yeah, we super appreciate you hanging out with us, being on this journey with us, and letting us share our journeys with you, and being real and transparent, and saying shit that we like to say along the way. So we appreciate you so much. You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com, and we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.